Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. Welcome to the regular municipal council meeting of the city of Westmount for Monday, March 20th, 2023. Bonsoir tout le monde. Bienvenue aux séances ordinaires du conseil municipal de la ville de Westmount pour le 20 mars 2023. I think we are going to start with some updates. I have a brief update to share with all of you, and then I will turn over to other council members. I just wanted to say a few words about recent events and some of the media coverage you might have seen about the ongoing negotiations on the renewal of the blue collar collective agreement for the city. As many of you already know, the negotiations are ongoing and the parties are currently in conciliation process. The Syndicat des Cols Bleus Regroupés de Montréal, which represents Montreal's blue collar workers, has carried out various steps in this process. One of them was a 3-day strike last week. On that occasion, the blue-collar workers also demonstrated in front of City Hall and other public buildings. However, last Thursday, March 16th, a line was crossed. I was shocked to see several blue-collar workers and union representatives show up in front of my house to demonstrate. Some even spoke directly from my porch to personally attack me and to spread false information about the city's offers to the blue-collar workers during these negotiations. Posters and flags of the union were also hung on the front of my property and the front door of my home, the home where I live with my kids, where they go in and out all day long. This is unacceptable to me. The right to strike and to demonstrate are essential rights in our societies, rights that have been hard won and for which I have the deepest respect. But none of these rights can justify what happened last Thursday in front of my house. Those actions were nothing more than intimidation. And I want to say this in the strongest possible terms. Intimidation has no place in our work environment, and intimidation will have no place in the city. Intimidation is not a bargaining tool that will be tolerated in Westmount. No Westmounters should be subjected to such acts and fear of safety for their family. The word respect has been used a lot in these negotiations, but the respect has to be mutual. The privacy of all Westmounters, including elected officials, must also be respected. Union demonstrations must take place in the public space, not on private property. And as far as the current negotiations are concerned, they must take place around the negotiating table. Therefore, I would say this. The offers that we have made to the union are generous, considering what is currently offered in the sector. We have also offered interesting changes to work schedule that will allow for a better work-family balance, which is incredibly important to me. And we will also continue to negotiate in good faith. I hope that last Thursday's event will not be repeated and that we can return to a climate that is more conducive to smooth running of negotiations, and that hopefully that the goal that we all share is that we reach an agreement. Thank you very much. I will now turn it over. I'll start at this end of the table with Councillor Kez. Do you have any comments?
No reports.
No. Councillor Aronson?
And thank you, Madam Mayor. No report.
Councillor Gallery?
Yes, I have a few quick ones. 2 weeks ago at our first meeting of the month, I made an appeal for more coaches for the spring soccer program. I am still making the same appeal. Maybe there's some new viewers this week. Additionally, we have a new QR code. There'll be posters around the rec center, and it will be on our website as well, where it'll be very easy to sign on and show your enthusiasm to help. Spring is in the air, so that brings us to the inter-city hockey playoffs. So I just wanted to wish all our Westmount players all the best. But with spring comes the melting of the snow. So with that, our outdoor rinks and the toboggan run and snow park are now closed for this season. You can still enjoy indoor skating at the WRC. Please check the schedule on our website. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just echo the benefit of having coaches. As I've coached in the city. I was coached by my dad as I was growing up. It's not something that you will ever regret. So I would encourage, you don't have to have kids playing in the program. And anyone who has the ability to do it, you can also just be like the person who makes the schedule and organizes the popsicles. But I'd also encourage young people, students who have an interest in it to volunteer their time, and that we will help you achieve those volunteer hours if you come and coach with us. So it's a great opportunity. And our spring soccer program is a really great local program. If you're not wanting to do the 6-month soccer season that might have, 4 or 5 practices a week, this is a more local, fun and inclusive program. So I really encourage anyone who can to come out to do that. Thank you for those updates. Councillor Peart, I think, has some updates on the
Yes.
engineering side.
Thank you, Madame Lameras. As spring is upon us and we are heading into our infrastructure season, I thought you might be happy to know that our first project has been awarded, and that comprises the rehabilitation project of some water mains on Wood, Edge Hill, Decasson, and Victoria. These sections, comprising of 815 meters of gray caster iron pipes that date back as long ago as 1892. Those will be addressed in this project. Now, when we're talking about rehabilitation of structure of water mains, what happens is that there are periodic holes which are punched in on the road work, and the contractors go in and reline the existing pipes with a structural liner from the inside of the pipe. So it's not a complete excavation of the pipes and having the pipes dug up and replaced, but rather the old pipes are rehabilitated, and they have a very long shelf life, and it's a quicker and less invasive way to do the works. Now, 58% of this work that qualifies for the Tech Q subsidies. Often the prioritization of our infrastructure works are guided and informed by these subsidies, and so they certainly impact the way we decide when and where we're going to be doing some of our infrastructure work. Later on, we'll be moving a resolution with the details of this project award to Sanex and Services Environnement, and it will be in the range of $2.1 million. I encourage you for this project and for other infrastructure projects to follow along on our Impôt Construction page on our website. I think you can just go to the main website and go down to road work, and from there it'll take you to the Impôt Construction page, on which you'll find a map with all of the current projects, the details of every project, and the timelines for all of the projects. And also, as you may find it to be very important and useful, the contact names for the key persons for each of these projects. This project I'm talking about today, the rehabilitation project, will begin in May and will continue through October 2023. And if you come back for future sessions, you'll hear some more news about future projects. And one last point, sorry, Mayor Smith. I haven't talked about this in quite some time because it's been a little bit dormant, but I would like to reactivate and reinvite everybody onto my my virtual meetings that I had set up during the pandemic, and hope to reactivate and invite people back. If you want to access these, I'm holding these every week, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. You just go to the council website, go to my picture, you'll see a little box. You can tick, you can hit the box, and you can choose a time in which Zoom invitation will be sent to you, and we can sit and have a chat. It could be about, you could be a resident in my district. It could be something pertinent to any of my dossiers in infrastructure or in urban planning. I'll leave it up to you, but I've set aside that hour every week to hopefully engage with the community and then invite you to come and give me a call.
But not a way to skirt the urban planning process. Of opening
absolutely.
a file.
No. Thank you for that precision.
In case anyone was wondering if that was a way to get a window permit, it is not. And on the projects, not only is it on the website, but we'll also be sending information directly to your door with details about the project for those that live on the street that are directly impacted. Councillor Shammy, any updates? Councillor Roux, no doubt, has several.
Wouldn't want to disappoint anyone. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'll start with reminders. So musicians who would like to submit their candidacy for inclusion in our 2023 summer concert series have until April 6th. Les inscriptions des artistes pour Art Westmount se terminent le 24 mars. For those who wish to submit an entry to the McIntyre writing competition, you have until next Sunday. So March 26th, you can drop it off at the children's desk or submit your entry online. And there's also another activity I'd like to remind people of, which is, I find it great. Anyway, Tales and Travel Series. It's a weekly activity for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. It's held at the Westmont Room from 10:30 till 12:30 on Fridays. So for March 17th, it's already started, but it goes on until March 31st and then April 14th and 21st. Caregivers are encouraged to participate in these sessions. Then on Thursday, March 23rd, so this Thursday coming up at 1 p.m. in the Westmont Room, there's a lecture on wild Antarctica and the Falkland Islands. On Friday, the 24th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., you're invited to the gallery at Victoria Hall for the vernissage of Alexander Slim. On Saturday, March 25th, from 2 p.m. till 3 p.m. in the Westmont Room, there's drag story time with Barbada de Barbade. Kids can join for a special afternoon of stories and songs. On Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. at Victoria Hall, the Film Club is presenting Sound of Metal. On Thursday, March 30th in the Westmont Room, there is an author event with Joshua Levy, who's author, poet, memorist, and live storyteller. On the 1er avril à 19h à Victoria Hall, la compagnie Baroque Mont-Royal présente un concert intitulé Le Révolutionnaire tranquille, air et scène d'opéra de C.W. Gluck. And I have a long list, but there's much more. So please check the Library and Community Events website for a complete list of activities. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor D'Amico?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, just as indicated on our website, the Conservatory Restoration Project was shortlisted for an Excellence in Architecture Award. And I just wanted to note that. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for all the updates. Lots going on, obviously, at community events in the library and sports and rec, as always. I hope that I know that the city is sort of getting back to being full. It's sort of vacated a little bit with spring break, and I'm just back from spring break as well. But while I was away, our member of parliament, Mark Garneau, has resigned, and I had put out a statement on that that maybe some citizens have seen. But I just want to take this opportunity again to thank him for all of his hard work, his incredible dedication, not just to our riding, obviously, but all that he's given to Canada over the years, long before he became a member of parliament. And I think I speak on behalf of not everybody, but on behalf of a lot of people, that we were very proud to have Mr. Garneau represent us in Ottawa. And he's a true example of an ideal public servant. So I wish him and Pam all the very best. And we know that he'll stay in the neighborhood, and we have lots of committees that he can join and lots of places that we could use his incredible knowledge. But we're glad to still very much have him as part of our community, but sad that he's no longer our member of parliament. So I think we will start now with the question period, if there's any questions in the room. And then I think we only have one question that was submitted online, but perhaps there's others that are coming in. So if anyone in the room has a question, now is the time.
It's Richard Dufour from 22 Anwath. Two questions, but before that, I'd just like to say that I was very sad to hear what you had said, Madam Mayor, about the public workers striking in front of your home. I think that's really scandalous. And I hope that you do know that I think the citizens do appreciate your work and all the councillors' work. I know that you guys don't get paid very much for what you do. I know it's a thankless job, and I know that fewer and fewer people are willing to get involved in city politics. So we thank you for that, and I hope you're not discouraged by those people.
I'm always encouraged to see people like you and citizens like you come to council and ask important questions on important issues. So,
all right, thank you. My two questions. I had sent a request to get some more information about the contracts that were awarded for waste compost and recycling. And I thank you. I got that, I think, from the city clerk's office.
Got it through the city.
I looked over it this afternoon, and I thought that there'd be more information about the particulars in terms of the obligations or the responsibilities of the contractors of what to do with the material once it was collected. All I saw was just very kind of formulaic contractual information about, when to pick it up and how much material to be picked up. But what happens to it after that, nothing was specified. My question is that something that is the responsibility of the city of Westmount to inquire about? Is that part of the contractual?
So I'm not,
Obligations?
I haven't seen the contract, and I know obviously some financial implications and things like that wouldn't have been taken out. So I can't say exactly what you would have seen or what they gave you in that information. And I'm not sure, I don't want to say if we had any details on the post, what happens after the pickup, because it's I think the contract that you had asked for the documents on was the transportation contract though, right?
Yeah, I had asked for transportation and collection, but maybe I should have been more specific. I had assumed that it would go beyond that. But anyway, I did make a request this afternoon and I responded to.
Okay.
But
it's a very good point that we have to be concerned about the full life cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the producers should be, paying the full life cycle. We are also part of that chain of full life cycle, and that we can't just, maybe in the past we have been able to say, okay, well, we've picked it up. We've done our bit, right? Our bit is your front step, blue box. We take it, we deliver it. But I think what you're reminding us of is that we have to be concerned about, what happens next. And it has to be an efficient system, right? Like it cannot be just smoke and mirrors that we feel good that we've put it all in a blue box. But I guess that's an old contract. I can't speak the details about the contract, but I think the point you're raising is that should be going forward, something that is written in. Is that what you're asking us?
yeah, I mean, maybe that information is there. Maybe you guys, maybe contractually there is that paperwork. I didn't see it, but maybe I didn't ask the right question. But anyway, I would like a follow-up on that to find out if, once, the city picks it up and it's like, okay, it's out of our hands, but.
And that's something that we can certainly follow up with, as we look, we have a year till we have to go out to renegotiate that. So it's a good point to raise.
All right. Thank you. And the second question, you had mentioned in passing a few times, Mayor Smith, that you were considering, or you'd like to see the option of having waste collection happen, not on a weekly basis, but maybe bi-weekly.
I did raise that. Yeah. It was something.
I mean, I know you're going to get a lot of pushback from that from the city, but I do think that you are firm and that you do.
Well, I think
where I have a country house, there it's every month.
Yeah,
and so we live there actually year round. It's not because we're just there weekenders. And I know other municipalities here or boroughs in Montreal are doing it every second week. And if people are sorting their garbage properly, and in terms of recycling and compost, there should not be that much garbage. So
it's if you are doing it properly, then you really shouldn't have that much garbage, right? If you're composting, it'll reduce it enormously. I think the pushback that I anticipate and that I've already heard is, well, yes, I can do it in the country because I have space to leave the bins, blah blah blah, but I don't have that same space here. And some of the West Island cities have started doing it and doing it every 2 weeks. And the argument will be that they perhaps have more spaces, lots of single family homes. But I think we have to get very creative about, it's not also just, it's the trucks on the road, right? There's a lot of trucks on the road, and feasibly that the composting should have replaced that. We used to have garbage pickup twice a week. And we moved down to once a week, and everybody survived it. So I'm sure we could survive every 2 weeks.
Well, thank you. I hope that we're going to see that as a bylaw being proposed this year.
Thank you. I think it's a good thing to certainly start discussing with the public and we've started doing some polling to look at doing some polling around composting, but also garbage pickup. It's a good one to raise. Undoubtedly, we'll probably make it in the paper now that you've asked a question about it. So we'll get lots of feedback on it. Mr. Fretz, do you have a question? Not to put you on the spot, but it's your last chance before I go online.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, John Fretz, 473 Lansdowne. There were a couple of things. I was actually going to save them, but we're getting a new superintendent of roads and parks. Seems to me we had someone come in just last spring. When you make your remarks, can you tell us a bit about who this person is? Because I think it's an important post. And it also seems like a very big one, roads and parks. But that's just an observation.
And that's, it's someone who is working with us right now, and he's being made permanent. He was, I want to say, was it 6 months? Yeah, he came in the fall, from Montreal West,
Okay.
and he's proven to be a very, key asset on the team.
Oh, very good. Thank you. The other thing that's I'd like to bring up is there was a $1.4 million seizure, I guess you call it, of a guarantee on St. Catherine Street. Does that money just go straight into our own bank, or what will happen with that? Does it become part of the surplus?
It would go into the general funds of the city. Yes.
Okay, great. So we can use that for stuff.
You've got your eyes on Summit Woods with that 1.4 million. I know it.
Thank you.
It's a lot of path restoration there. Okay, any questions online? Or is there was one question submitted online, and then we'll go to other questions submitted.
Oui, nous avons reçu une question aujourd'hui en ligne. Bonjour, j'espère que vous allez bien. Je m'appelle Fouad Bittard, j'habite au 4488 Sherbrooke-Ouest. Ma question se rapporte sur le panneau de signalisation de ma rue. Le 1er mars, j'ai contacté à ce sujet Kimberly Colquhoun, Assistant Director Public Safety, qui de son côté l'a transféré à la division de circulation. Après plusieurs suivis, je n'ai toujours pas de réponse, ce qui m'amène aujourd'hui à la séance du conseil. Les maisons de ma rue n'ont pas d'espace de stationnement disponible sur leur propriété et malheureusement, le panneau de signalisation sur ma rue indique l'interdiction de stationnement du lundi au vendredi de 8h à 9h. Cela rend le stationnement ardu. Est-ce possible d'enlever ce panneau? Merci.
Je vais donner la question à Madame conseillère Bostock, mais c'est sur la rue Sherbrooke à l'heure de point. Et ça, c'est la raison pourquoi on n'a pas de stationnement sur la rue à ce point. Donc, si vous avez d'autres choses.
C'est exactement ça. C'est pour faciliter les autobus d'aller de l'ouest à l'est. Donc, faire un changement va créer autre problème et c'est en collaboration avec le MTQ et le STM que la signalisation est comme il est pour 8h à 9h le matin pendant les heures de pointe, lundi à vendredi.
Juste sur une côté.
Sur un côté, c'est le côté sud.
Oui. OK, mais merci pour la question. J'espère que c'est les détails que vous avez besoin. D'autres questions en ligne? No?
Yes, 2 more questions from Mr. Andrew Grove. Good evening. Sorry I can't be there, but I'm pleased to see the recent attention given to Westmount Hydro and its mandate. Councillor Chami, I appreciate your comments in the local paper a few weeks back and the comments on your committee at the last council meeting. Specifically, my question today is a repeat from April 2022. The budget prepared by Westmount Hydro and published by the city, does it reflect only the cost of hydro distribution only, or does it still include street lights, traffic lights, and various other items that really are common expense of any city on the island of Montreal?
I can give that to Councillor Chami, who's got
Thank you, Mr. Gould, for your question. So as you know, our Hydro Westmount budget, which is part of our financial plan for the year, includes, of course, the hydroelectric maintenance and distribution of electricity, but also includes the lights, the lighting, and all those ancillary comments that you just raised. I will ask the administration to get a detailed answer that I'll be able to present to you in writing in short order. And again, I thank you for your question.
Thank you. I think he said he had did Mr. Grove have 2 questions?
Yes. My second question relates to the hydro network itself. When Hydro-Québec released their revenues and profits for 2022, they commented on the loss incurred due to extreme weather in the Laurentians in May and July. How does Westmount Hydro prepare it in terms of a budget for extreme weather? If we suffer a huge loss of transmission lines, poles, etc. How will the city pay for it based on our already tight budget? Insurance, Quebec City grants? Thank you.
Councillor Shammy, do you want to?
Thank you, Mr. Wolf, for another very pertinent question. So preparedness and emergency preparedness and climatic change and are all factors, of course, that our professionals at Hydro Westmount and throughout the city take into account. So yes, the administration does look at all those areas, and because I don't have the answers at hand, and I'm forthright to you and transparent, I will ask the administration to come back with an answer that I can present to you on the preparedness on climatic changes that affect the distribution of hydroelectric power in our city of Westmount, and I'll get back to you. Thank you, Mr. Grove.
Thank you. Any further questions online?
No more questions.
Okay, so we will now move into the next part of the meeting with the adoption of the agenda, l'adoption de l'ordre du jour avec des items on new business. Councillor Bostock.
I move that the agenda of the regular council sitting of March 2023 be adopted with the following addition of 18.1, execution of a court order.
Thank you. All seconder on that, Councillor Gallery, all in favor? Carried. Item number 5, again, Councillor Bostock, approbation de procès verbal.
I move that the minutes of the regular council sitting held on March 6, 2023 be approved.
Thank you very much. A seconder will be Councillor Roux. All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, reports to council. 6.1 is correspondence. The following document is tabled. Le document suivant est déposé. Avis public de la Ville de Montréal concernant la consultation pré-budgétaire 2024 devant se tenir le mercredi le 29 mars 2023 de 8h à 21h. I think Councillor D'Amico would like to make a few comments about that.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So I like the idea, and I've already worked on doing the same thing for the city of Westmount, which will probably be a first. So we will be asking the public for consultation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 6.2, minutes of the General Committee of Council, Councillor Bostock.
I move that the minutes of the General Committee of Council meeting held on February 23rd, 2023 are tabled and are available on the city's website. We need to move that.
Thank you very much. 6.3, dépôt de procès-verbaux de correction, Ms. Le Greffier de la Ville.
Madame la mairesse, conformément à l'article 92.1 de la loi sur les cités et villes, je dépose les procès-verbaux de correction portant sur les résolutions numéro 2022-06-142 et 2023-02-36, ainsi que des copies des documents modifiés.
Merci beaucoup. Item number 7, numéro 7, approval of grants for nonprofit organizations, Green Neighbors Merchants Association and Westmount Victoria Village Merchants Association. Councillor Aronson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas Section 91 of the Municipal Powers Act, pursuant to the Section 91 of the Municipal Powers Act, a local municipality may grant financial assistance to promote the well-being of its population. And whereas having prosperous economic sectors is essential for the well-being of Westmount's population. And whereas the city of Westmount wishes to support 2 nonprofit organizations created in October of 2018, namely the Green Neighbors Merchants Association and the Westmount Victoria Village Merchants Association, and whereas our Director General recommends that an amount of $40,000 be granted to each of these associations for the 2023 fiscal year for a total amount of $80,000. I move that a grant of $40,000 be approved for each of the following merchants associations for the 2023 fiscal year: the Green Neighborhoods Merchants Association and the Victoria Village Merchants Association for a total of $80,000, following the fulfillment of the following conditions. First, that each organization have provided their financial statements for the past year, and second, that each organization have provided a breakdown of the allocation of the funds being granted. That this expenditure be made in allocation with the to be allocated in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2023-1858.
Thank you very much, Councillor Aronson. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Any further comments on this?
Only that our merchants associations are working very, very hard to promote the businesses in our commercial areas. It's the Green Avenue Merchants Association also handles some portion of St. Catherine Street up to Outwater, and the Victoria Village Merchants Association also helps businesses that are on Sherbrooke Street near Victoria. Both of them are organizations that are made up by local merchants, families, and hardworking people here in our neighborhoods that we support with our when we go and buy the goods and their services. And I'm very happy that, and I urge our fellow councillors to vote in favor of this motion, that we may provide some support for those organizations as they try to rebuild and grow post-COVID. So to my fellow councillors, I urge you please to vote in favor of this motion, and to local residents who may be watching, please do look out for what the merchants associations may be doing with these funds. There'll be some very interesting community activities coming in the next year. And I hope that everybody is able to participate in them and encourage those local merchants. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Carried. And just on that note as well, you may have seen in the paper last week, what the city is also doing, which we've done over the past couple of years, is encouraging more use of public space by taking away, by moving some of the parking and a driving lane and allotting more space in the commercial sectors so that people can, walk and sit and eat their lunch outside and things like that. And one picture was shown of the new furniture that's being bought, which was not entirely representative of the whole look and feel of what the street is going to be. And that is based on the feedback from the survey that we did in the commercial sectors that we got some great response to. But they showed, one element, which was more of a swing type piece of furniture, which is not entirely representative, because we're really proud that we've got some very accessible, in particular for seniors or anyone with mobility issues, some tables that have some very interesting, neat designs. So I think citizens will be happy about that. So I think we voted on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we will move on to item number 8, which Mr. Fretz had raised before: appointment Superintendent Roads and Parks Public Works Department. Councillor Bostock.
I move that Mr. Giovanni D'Amico be appointed to the position of Superintendent Roads and Parks of the Public Works Department, grade 8, effective March 21st, 2023, in accordance with salary recommendation stipulated in the decision-making file number 2023-1850, and according to the terms provided in the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel. And that this appointment be on a permanent basis once Mr. D'Amico has completed a probationary period of 6 months in accordance with Section 2 of the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Peart. Any further comments?
He's been a great addition to the team, and it's nice to have him on a permanent basis now.
Perfect. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 9, numéro 9, c'est l'appel d'offres sur invitation service professionnel pour la surveillance des travaux d'infrastructure souterrains d'Hydro Westmount. Le conseiller Chamy.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $53,200, including tax credits, for the professional services for the surveillance of Hydro Westmount's underground infrastructure tender by invitation number INV 2023-007, and to award to Infrastructel Inc. a contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $61,166.70, including taxes, the whole in conformity with its contractual documents of the call of tender by invitation INV 2023-007. And finally, to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2023-1851.
Thank you very much. A seconder will be Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments? All in favor? Carried. Item number 10, numero 10, call for public tenders, water main rehabilitation by structural lining. Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $1,955,297.70, including tax credits, for the water main rehabilitation by structural lining, tender number PUB-2023-001, to award to Saxon Environmental Services, Inc., the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $2,137,115.48, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders PUB-2023-001. To allocate the spending in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2023-1849.
Thank you very much. A seconder will be Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments? You had addressed this earlier.
Indeed. Thank you.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 11 is renouvellement d'un contrat nettoyage des puissards dans la ville de Westmount. Councillor Bostock.
I move to authorize the renewal of the contract awarded as part of a call for public tenders, PUB-2022-017, resolution number 2022-06-142 to 9363-9888 Quebec Inc., Sanivac, Montreal, for the cleaning of the catch basins in the city of Westmount for the period from April 1st to December 31st, 2023, for a maximum amount of $66,481.17, including taxes. To authorize an expenditure in the amount of $60,706.17, including tax credits for the purpose of this contract, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders PUB 2022-017, and to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file numbers 2022-1583 and 2023-1845.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Any further comments on typical renewal of the contract?
Typical renewal, but it cleans out the catch basins, which means that when we have lots of rain that we don't get flooding. So it's good.
Okay, thank you. Item number 12, avis de motion règlement 1597 prévoyant l'établissement de tarifs et certaines conditions applicables à l'approvisionnement d'électricité pour l'année 2023-2024. Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I give notice of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1597, entitled "A Bylaw to Establish the Rates and Certain Conditions for the Supply of Electricity for the Year 2023 to 2024. The object of this bylaw is to establish the electricity rates for Hydro Westmount customers as of April 1st, 2023. And the object of this bylaw is also to establish certain conditions respecting the supply of electricity for the year 2023 to 2024. And this bylaw repeals, Madam Mayor, bylaw 1587 to establish the rates and certain conditions for the supply of electricity for the year 2022 to 2023. A copy of the draft bylaw will be available for public consultation.
Thank you very much. Item number 13, notice of motion bylaw 1598 concerning plumbing. Councillor.
Si vous permettez, il n'y a pas eu de vote sur le point numéro 11, nettoyage des puisards dans la ville de Westmount.
Ah, on n'avait pas un vote sur celui-là? OK. Dans le appuyeur, je pense que c'était Madame Gallery. All in favor? Carried. Item number 11 is carried. Number 12, Councillor Shammy has just read, but it does not require a vote.
Oh.
Item 13, again, is a notice of motion bylaw 1598 concerning plumbing. Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I give notice of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1598, entitled Bylaw Concerning Plumbing.
The object
of this bylaw is to update the provisions of bylaw 1368, which it repeals and operates in conjunction with Chapter 3 of the Quebec Construction Code to regulate plumbing. A copy of the draft bylaw is available for public consultation.
Thank you very much. Item number 14, notice of motion bylaw 1600 concerning solid fuel heating and cooking devices and fireplaces. Councillor Aronson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I give notice of motion of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council, bylaw number 1600 entitled Bylaw Concerning Solid Fuel Heating and Cooking Devices and Fireplaces. The object of this bylaw is to control the emission of particulate matter into the atmosphere from solid fuel heating and cooking devices, as well as fireplaces in commercial establishments. A copy of the draft bylaw will be available for public consultation.
Thank you. Another notice of motion is this one is Councillor Peart as well. Notice of motion bylaw 1601 to further amend zoning bylaw 1303, medical clinics and doctors' offices.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I give notice of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1601 entitled bylaw to further amend zoning bylaw 1303, medical clinics and doctors' offices. The object of this bylaw is to repeal the quota and maximum area standards for medical clinic and doctor's offices uses in certain zones. A copy of the draft bylaw is available for public consultation.
Thank you very much. Item number 16 is adoption of l'adoption de règlement 1596 modifiant le règlement 1593 visant à établir les tarifs pour l'exercice financier 2023, le greffier de la ville.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je signale que des copies du règlement ont été remises à tous les membres du conseil et mises à la disposition du public en temps opportun. L'objet de ce règlement est de prévoir une tarification pour une demande de modification à tout type de règlement d'urbanisme.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que je peux avoir une déclaration de la part de chaque membre du conseil présent à la fait qu'il ou elle a lu le règlement? Le conseiller D'Amico.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je déclare que le règlement numéro 1596 intitulé Règlement modifiant le règlement 1593 visant à établir les tarifs pour l'exercice financier 2023 ayant été adopté, il est ordonné que les avis soient donnés conformément à la loi.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que j'ai besoin d'un appuyeur pour celui-là? Oui.
Oui.
Un appuyeur, c'est Monsieur Chamy. All in favor? Est-ce que vous avez d'autres commentaires? Non. I declare that bylaw 1596 entitled bylaw 1593 to establish tariffs for the 2023 fiscal year having been duly adopted. It is ordered that notices be given as required by law. Item number 17 is approval of site planning and architectural integration programs. Councillor Peart, November 2022.
Thank you, Madame la Mairesse. For this one, I will read the whereas because it's a particular condition. Whereas on December 19th of 2022, Council adopted the site planning and architectural integration programs conditions for the issuance of a permit as listed in item CCU 2022-11.32 of the agenda of the regular meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, for the month of November 2022, held on November 15th and November 17th of 2022. Resolution 2022-12-230. Whereas during its meeting held on November 15th and November 17th of 2022, the PAC issued a favorable recommendation with the option of French doors without small wood on the rear facade. Whereas the application meets the objectives and criteria of bylaw 1305 on site planning and architectural integration programs, whereas an administrative error was made in the communication to the applicant regarding the favorable approval of the two proposed French door options, namely with and without small woods, whereas the applicant has placed an order in good faith with the manufacturer and the production of said doors has been initiated. Whereas the obligation to comply with the approval in accordance with the resolution number 2022-12-230 would cause financial prejudice to the applicant by requiring the modification of the current order with the manufacturer and the payment of the related additional cost. Whereas the difference between the two proposed options and the location at the rear of the residence is negligible, I move that the municipal council act on the opinion of the Planning Advisory Committee, the PAC, as set out in the minutes of the November 2022 regular meeting held on November 15th and November 17th of 2022, and adopt for it the site planning and architectural integration programs conditions for the issuance of permits as listed in the item CCU 2022-11-3.32 of the agenda of said meeting.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Any further comments?
It's
Clear in the whereas.
administrative. And when we make an error, we went up to it and we try to fix it. So this is the resolution to that.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. We have one more item of new business, 18.1. Councillor Aronson, I think, is going to move this one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas the Superior Court of Quebec has rendered a decision in file 500-17-038635-077 and in 500-17-043648-081. I move the council mandate DHC Avocat Incorporated, Maître Renaud Soucy, to take all necessary measures to execute the decision rendered in the above mentioned files 500-17-038635-077 and 500-17-043648-081 of the Quebec Superior Court. And further, that an application be filed before the court to renew the present injunction. And finally, that the Director of Legal Services or the Assistant Director of Legal Services in his absence be authorized to sign for and in the name of the city all documents necessary to execute the decisions in the said files.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Bostock. I think it's clear in the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. That's the end of the items of our agenda, unless we have any questions in the room. And then we'll go to any online questions.
That's your.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. John Fretz, 473 Lansdowne. It's not really a question, if I may. I just want to say my wife and I attended the senior self-defense session yesterday.
Ah, wonderful.
It was wonderful. And
Great.
I want to thank the person, Claude Dania, I think, who organized it. Everybody benefited. The other thing I just wanted to, last Saturday, that's March the 12th, a sunny day, I was bicycling along the bike path. There was an elderly lady who had taken a fall, and her coat was, she'd taken like a pratfall, and she had blood on her face. And the caregiver, a lovely person, wasn't very experienced, and the residents, she said, "Oh, the residents is sending someone." I said, "Yeah, but she needs help now." I called public security. They were there in 3.5 minutes. They knew where the gazebo was. They knew how to back a truck down that narrow path. So I just want to say thank you. And I think everyone was very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you. The Director of Public Security, as you know, is here with us tonight, but he'll certainly relay it that to your team. And I hope that woman is okay and is recovering.
Yeah.
And we'll certainly also pass on to Claude Danis your commentary about the senior self-defense. I think that's with Manoli, right? That does it. George Manoli, who's a retired SPVM officer. And he also does it. We've done it for teens as well, and kids, but in particular, I know my daughter's done this course and it's been very, very helpful for her and her friends but he's an expert at it, George Manoli. So thanks for that feedback. It's great to hear. Mr. Dufour, any other questions before we adjourn? I should have just adjourned.
Richard Dufour, 22 Anwa. I came to the meeting specifically with the anticipation that I would hear about a lot. I saw the agenda with the bylaw regarding wood burning fireplaces and others. From what I understand, though, it's only for commercial.
We are starting with commercial.
So my question is, why are we stopping there?
Want to take that, Mr. Aronson?
Absolutely. Well, the good news is that at this moment, any person with a fireplace in the city of Westmount who wishes to make sure that they have filters so that any particulate matter that they are burning in their wood burning fireplaces doesn't get into the atmosphere are able to do so without any problem whatsoever. As we begin to change the requirements of the city in order to ask those who have not opted to make their fireplaces ones that they can use without putting particulate matter into the air. We do have an obligation to make sure that we do it in a calm, measured, and appropriate fashion, whereby we can go to the places where the most particulate matter is put into the air in the first instance, and work our way down to all particulate matter being put into the air within the city of Westmount. Although I would love to be able to simply change anything and everything that does pose a difficulty or perhaps even a threat to the quality of our air or that puts greenhouse emissions into the air immediately, we do need to make sure that as we act in a responsible way, we do so in a manner that will allow the most citizens to adopt these measures without too much difficulty or resistance that would prevent them from taking from doing the right thing by asking them for too much too quickly. So we're starting with commercial and we're going to work our way down. I hope that's answered the question.
I think what he's trying to say is this the start.
Yeah. It's a start, but again, it's an embarrassment. We're an elitist community. We live in a bit of a bubble here. We're on an island of Montreal where almost the entire island is
surrounded by people who ban, like they're not. I know what you're saying. We're left.
Yeah. So, and I heard no one here, but a former city councillor about at least 5 or 8 years ago. I heard that person, I won't even use a pronoun, but that person say, no way that's going to happen. I love my fireplace. Okay. I heard that from a city councillor. And I'm not accusing you, city councillors, personally. That's not my point. It's just that we're very comfortable here in Westmount. And we don't want to kind of ruffle any feathers. And I can understand why there's resistance, but at un moment donné, we have to kind of, take action, show leadership. We're not doing that. It's embarrassing.
Okay.
And I hope that position changes.
Okay. I think that's very noted.
Thank you.
And we probably need to do a better job too of educating people about the impact of it right now. And I think people know that the rest of the island has done this, right? So, but for now, as Councillor Aronson said, the notice of motion right now is that step, but that's not to say it's the final step. So, okay. Any other questions in the room? Otherwise, are there any questions online?
There's one question online from Mr. Paul. We don't have his last name and we don't have his address. Are permits approval for renovations happened?
Our
permits approval for renovation happened? I don't know. I don't understand.
Oh, did the permits happen tonight? Is that, I think that might be what he's referring to. No, but there will be a special meeting this week. Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday night at probably around 6:00. That will be a special meeting just to catch up on some of the permits that are in the queue before the next meeting at the beginning of April. No further questions? If not, the meeting is adjourned. Pas d'autres questions en ligne? Okay. Thank you. Good night. Thank you to those who came.